Hello, Vicella Unified. I just wanted to take a few minutes to share with you some highlights from the recent spotlight shared at our board meeting around campus supports. So I want to begin with some of the spotlight on campus supports that we have. Of course, we know that coming out of the pandemic, our students are facing increased challenges, and how do we rise up as a district to support that need? And so really this work began way before I even arrived on this in this great community from the leadership of our board. A couple of those positions I want to highlight, and these are direct positions to support the work of our teachers, our school administrators, and our students on our campus. First of all, new school-based positions, counselors. We have 63 total counselors, 6 new in elementary for a total of 27, 10 in middle school, 24 in high school, 2 being new, 7 more social workers, and 18 more SSIP positions. I'm going to talk a little bit about what those are. Safe Student Intervention Program staff. These are individuals who work with some of our students who present the most challenges. How can we wrap supports around them so that they're successful on the school campus? 5 of those positions are new. So we've added to existing programs and things that we know are successful in supporting kids. We also have a program that not many people may know about, but it's our on-campus intervention program. This is now what began in a few schools, has now been expanded this year to all of our middle and high schools. We have 11 programs offered across our district, 5 in our middle schools, 4 in our elementary schools, and 1 in our elementary school. And the 4 high school positions were added this fall. And OCI, on-campus intervention, is designed to be a short-term intervention for students in response to challenging behavior, using an evidence-based curriculum and staffed by a multi-subject credentialed teacher. So this gives us an opportunity for those students who maybe they haven't done something that warrants being removed from school campus completely, but we know that this is a student that is exhibiting need and maybe in distress. And so how do we wrap supports around that student while also removing them from maybe the current environment where challenges are being presented, whether it's with a classroom, a teacher, other students, but be able to deliver support to hopefully be able to come back and be an extremely successful student. Now, one thing I think it's important to note is we are always evaluating, looking at the services we provide. And when we do identify gaps, we immediately work to fill those. And one of the things I want to show is this board's continual investment in people. And while programs are important, it's really people and their effectiveness that make it work. And so you can see here pre-pandemic, and this is just a baseline middle school. We could do the same chart for elementary and high school, and it would show similar. And if you count, you're going to see about 12, 12, and 15 and a half. In other words, we have continued to advance our staffing. This is looking at not staffing at a classroom level. This is actually the supports wrapped around our campuses for teachers. So this is more an administrative social services type work. All of our middle schools now have a full-time psychologist, 2 counselors, learning directors, assistant principals, behavior intervention technicians, social workers, campus supervisor, youth service officers, on-campus intervention, the OCI that I just talked about, and also, of course, our wonderful office staff, our clerical, our front desk folks that keep our schools running. Those of us that have been principals know who really makes things happen behind the scenes. And so we're continuing to invest in our school-based staffing to meet the needs that are present. Also want to talk about some more campus supports. We have heard, of course, one of the things that I had the privilege of attending back in May before I became superintendent was a student voice session where we had seniors and other students from all across the district and this board, and we actually convened a special meeting to listen to the voices of the students, listening to our parents, and some of the things that we're describing here are a result of that ongoing dialogue. And so one of the things we heard from our kids, we heard about the bathrooms and the challenges, and we want every kid to be able to go to a bathroom and not worry about what might be going on in there, right? Of course, that connects back to one of the board's beliefs and commitments. And so we've invested in vaping sensors for all high school campuses. 3 out of the 4 high school, comprehensive high schools are installed. One's in the process, should become operational this weekend. This will expand to middle schools as well. And one of the other pieces that is ongoing right now is training and develop of the admin staff now that they have this additional tool, and also hoping that this is a deterrent to students not only is this an unhealthy practice, but it impedes other students' ability, to access everywhere on the campus. And so that work is continuing. Also, our Raptor visitor management system. Now, I've presented on this before, and this has two parts. This is the visitor volunteer piece, right, where people sign in, it does checks and all of that. And in the event of an emergency, we now know who's on campus. So if we did have to do a relocation, we would know not only which students, but if there are visitors or guests on campus as well. But the other piece, and I think that's going to be most impactful about this, especially for our teachers, is the emergency alert part of this system. So should the school need to go into a lockdown or some other drill, fire drill situation, evacuation, right now, our principals can make an announcement. Maybe there's a bell that rings, of course, the alarm. But with this system, with a punch of a button, the administration can put the whole entire school, all of the staff computers and devices, and the screen will light up with what's going on, right? So instant notification across the campus. The other piece of this that I think teachers are going to find really impactful is, how do I get help in the classroom when I need help? How do I respond if there's a disturbance in the classroom? Maybe I need some help, but I'm teaching, right? I don't want to make a big deal of it. I don't want to go over to the intercom and announce somebody's business in front of everybody else, right? Like, how do I handle this? And so with the Raptor systems, all teachers and staff will have access to a team assist alert, basically. And so the way we'll program it is when they click that button, automatically it will alert every campus supervisor and administrator on campus so that immediate support can go to the classroom to help the teacher with whatever they might need in that situation. Also, Transfinder is being installed on all of our buses. Let me go back to Raptor. We expect the visitor and management part of this system. Welcome to a supply chain opportunity. We're working on getting all of those parts in. However, the emergency alert portion, we do believe is going to be operational, possibly as early as the end of the next month, which means by just a few weeks, all teachers are going to have access to this support to receive help in their classroom. Of course, we'll be giving more information about that. Transfinder. Currently, right now, if you're a parent and you want to know where your kid is on the bus or where the bus is, you're kind of at the mercy of if my kid has a cell phone or, just word of mouth, or maybe I see the bus. So Transfinder is going to be an automatic alert. So if the bus is late, maybe there's a different bus number, parents will be notified. And also with Transfinder, those of us that have been elementary principals, we know at the beginning of the year, try as we might, every now and then, somebody somehow gets on a bus they're not supposed to be on, right? So with Transfinder now, every student will have an icon or a badge, basically, or that sort of thing. It scans when they get on the bus, automatically tells the driver, hey, this kid is assigned to your bus, or big ol' X, this kid is not assigned to the bus. So before the bus even leaves, the driver has a chance to work with staff to get the student where they need to be. And so oftentimes, those of you that are parents, every now and then, although this is not appropriate, but every now and then, sometimes a kid gets off the bus at the wrong stop to go home with a friend, right? Without letting their parent know. And of course, parents are worried. Well, now when the kid scans to get off the bus, the driver will know, well, this isn't your stop, right? Or in a worst case scenario, let's say they do get off and get past the scan, we now know where the kid got off. And so we can send immediate support. So I think for parents and for our students, this is going to be another safety layer. Also, this is going to help us route our buses better and so be more efficient with that. So really excited about that. We are piloting that this fall, starting with our special ed buses, and we expect this to be operational district-wide in January. So we'll continue to update you on that. Also want to remind everyone that all of our students on their device have a way to make an anonymous report. So if you're a student and maybe you're not comfortable going to an adult or telling an adult on campus about a problem, obviously we hope you would be able to do that. But if not, there's a way you can make an anonymous report. I'm concerned about something. I saw something. I need a little help. And so we're working to make sure all of our students know that that is available. That also goes to our administrative team where they're immediately able to intervene or discreetly reach out to a student who indicated they might need some additional support. one of the things I heard loud and clear from staff and the community is we need training on what to do in an emergency, a safety emergency. And so through a partnership with our Visalia Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, working with our new team members that we have, our coordinator of safety, our coordinator of discipline now, we are working on training every single district employee on what to do in one of these emergency situations through a nationally recognized system called Alice Active Training Shooting Training for all staff. This teaches a curriculum to our staff. They practice. This is going to be delivered to administrators this fall. And then in early spring, we are working with our partners and we are going to train our entire district in a matter of a few days. And so we won't have a situation where one school gets training in January and another school has to wait till May, right? Everybody's going to get the training in a very short period of time. And so, although it's unfortunate that in this day and age, or that we have to do this sort of thing, we do know that this is something we have to do. And so we want to make sure that everyone on our campus is equipped and they know exactly what they need to do, that we have consistency across our entire district. What one school does and another school in the district office, everybody's in sync. Our vocabulary is the same. And so we'll be sharing much more information about that in the coming weeks. And so, again, as I mentioned, our Visalia Police Department, appreciate their partnership. As you know, we have youth service officers on our middle and high school campuses, very much been a partner in how do we deploy this training to all of our district team. And I know one of the concerns that's been echoing in our community, and of course our board has asked about a status update, is that of fentanyl and the drug that's within our nation. We see a lot of headlines about it. So Assistant Superintendent DeMayo has reported last board meeting that we're in the process of training our school nurses. We're in the process of installing the storage lockbox, I guess for lack of a better term, where that will be kept. We're still waiting to hear from the state. We've applied, as a lot of places have, to get the medicine in stock. We are still waiting on that. But in the meantime, should a worst case scenario happen, we do have our youth service officers and other municipality agencies that are here to support us. And so at this time, I would like to invite up Sergeant Cummings, I believe is here, and just to give us a brief update on fentanyl in our community and how we're prepared to respond. And then, of course, if the board has any questions for the sergeant. So.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So my name is Sergeant Jimmy Cummings. I'm the Sergeant of the Youth Service Officers, and I'm new to the position, so I just wanted to introduce myself to you. So fentanyl in our community. Yes, fentanyl is here, but the numbers, they climb each year. We're still relatively low. We looked at some of our stats as far as overdoses in the community, and I would say any overdose, one is too many, but overdoses related to fentanyl, our overdoses are higher in prescription medication and heroin than they are in fentanyl. One thing that we've done with fentanyl with our officers in the community is every Visalia police officer has been trained in the administration of Narcan. Narcan is a medication that can be administered by an officer, the first officer on scene, and you can get immediate results. So every officer in the Visalia Police Department has been trained in the use of Narcan and carries Narcan on their person in their pocket. That includes our YSOs. Every YSO on every campus has Narcan on them, and they've been trained to use it. And I would tell you, if there was ever an incident of a fentanyl exposure at a school, I would tell you that every officer in the Visalia Police Department would be going to that school as soon as they could, just because the presence of public safety is so important, especially in our schools. But that's really all I have. And I just want to say thank you for my relationship with Luis Jaramillo and Terry Martindale. They've been instrumental in my taking my new position here and working with Andy DeMayo and Brandon Gridiron, and also Superintendent Schrum. It's made the transition very easy, and seeing the importance they put on public safety and school safety for our students. And so that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So thank you for that. And again, Assistant Superintendent DeMeo will continue to update this board on the progress of when we're expected to get that so that we can also have an additional added layer above and beyond the current layer of protection that we have on our school campuses. And so more to come on that. As I turn to some additional campus supports, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of our campus culture. And, you know, we have talked a lot about One Visalia Connected. And I think everything we see in here points to why this is so important. We have to connect our kids. We have to connect our kids to meaningful activities, not just in school, but outside. When they're engaged, when they have a mentor, when they have an internship, when they're on a sports team, when they play in the band, the more connected they are, the less likely they're going to engage in risky behavior, hence the less likely need for any of the things that we just heard about to occur because our kids are engaged in something that's productive. And so while we use our code of conduct, we have our youth service officers on campus. If a student makes a bad decision, if a student gets into a fight, they will face a code of conduct consequence. Depending on the fight, most often that could result in a suspension. It could also result in a high likelihood of an arrest. Those are all things that we do not want, but that is the reality, and that is what will happen to students that choose to make the wrong decision. But that can't be the only story that we tell. We also have to wrap around supports. So this is not just a school system issue alone. It is a community issue. If a kid's not in school, they're going to be out in the community, right? That behavior will still be occurring. The location just changes. So in addition to the work that we do with our supports, we need our community's help. We need our community to step up and be part of One Visalia Connected. Be willing to be a mentor to a kid that's in need. Be willing to be a tutor in our AVID program. Be willing to increase internships, open your businesses so that we can increase the opportunities for kids to be engaged in meaningful activities. And I'm excited about what this initiative can do and what this can do for businesses within our community. So in addition, want to just talk about a couple of other things. Our new training and support for classroom staff. This is another area that we've been very attentive to because we know that we need to connect our students. We need to work with our teachers. And so focusing on training around the foundational pieces, getting back to core instruction, getting back to good reading instruction, getting back to good math support, and including and increasing our teachers on special assignment. These are expert teachers who have demonstrated great proficiency in the classroom. And now how do we build upon their proficiency, not only to help kids, but also coach teachers? And so how they model and how do we do those things to help increase the ability of our teachers to reach our kids? And so those are just some of the additional campus supports and items that I wanted to talk about and share with our board tonight. I want to talk about visual and performing arts for a minute, VAPA. Very important for a lot of our kids. Sometimes people wonder, well, what, you've added some positions. Well, what does that mean? What that means now is we now have a comprehensive way to assess our programs. One person that's a point of connection for all of our schools. Same thing could be said for athletics. And so those folks are not left to wonder, well, who at the district office do I contact if I need this or that, right? There's a person that's building along with them a comprehensive plan for the future to advance VAPA, to advance athletics. And so a couple of things I want to point out about VAPA that this work has translated into. Streamlining transportation. So for the first time saying, here are all of the opportunities that all of the schools agree to participate in. We're going to pay for that transportation. Not about the number of buses, right? Because we know that if we say you're going to go to these 10 programs, of course you can go to more, right? That's where your other funds kick in, but this is what the guarantee is. This is the foundation for every school. One school might need 5 buses. One school might need 4. That's why we don't just give a certain amount, but we pay for that, right? So whether I need 5 buses because of the size of my band or I need 3, we've got that. You'll see additional funding here that has gone to school programs this year. Instrument repair, we have a new building getting ready to open this week, in 2 weeks. For our instrument repair. So that's going to be our ability to help students when an instrument needs repair. And so also you saw tonight, another product of that is showcasing our students. So prior to coming here, I don't think we had our students showcase the great things that are happening in our schools at a board meeting. We are now going to have that at every board meeting. And in addition, if you walk out into the back hallway, you'll see a whole art display. And so we're working to transform this district office into a showcase for our student work. And you'll see in the back hallway, if you get a chance to walk back there after the meeting, some of the great art talent from our kids that's on display. And of course, wouldn't be able to do that without the great work of the teachers and others. Here's another immediate result of having people in positions to build systems. So one of the things our new VAPA director did was a quick assessment these past few weeks. What's an immediate urgent need in the VAPA program? Now, keep in mind, he's building out a strategic plan for that development and growth. But in the process of doing so, identified some immediate challenges. First of all, we discovered that we had kids on waiting lists for instruments. We discovered that we needed violins. I'm not going to pronounce cellos, string basses, bell kits, alto saxophones. You can see the chart. We also noticed that our high school band directors were standing on things that were maybe a little questionable as far as safety, right? And then a C-train for set construction and storage. The point being, this is over $100,000 worth of items that our VAPA director identified in working with our VAPA teachers at our school sites that needed immediate attention, that we didn't think we could wait a year or so more. All of this that you see on the screen is in the process of being ordered and will be on our school sites as soon as it's able to be delivered. This is what having a systematic approach to things helps us do. So thank you to Dan and his team, Destiny and others for all of their work.